Hey everybody, welcome to the Dad Challenge Podcast. My name's Dad. Before we get started, I want to talk to you guys about Chicago steak. This video is not sponsored, and you wonder, Josh, this sounds exactly like an ad. It sort of is, but the owners of Chicago Steak are some of my good bros. They're my friends. They've owned this company for years, and I just said, hey, look, I love your business. I love you guys. Why don't I talk about your steak? Because they actually have the best steak I've ever had in my life. You know, there's different steak companies out there, okay, that you can order your steak, comes to your house. Some of it may or may not be injected and just filled, and it's just not good. These guys are the real effing deal, okay? I love them so much, I'm doing this for free. That's how much I love their steak, and I love these guys, okay? But it comes in this sweet box, just like this. And it doesn't ship to Canada, so I know my Canadian viewers, you can't get it. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for you. This is for my American viewers. Guys, if you've never tried Chicago steak, you gotta get your hands on this. It comes in the sweet box, and it comes in a little cooler, so it's like solid as a rock when it gets to you. So it's vacuum sealed and in a cooler. You can't beat it. It comes like this. It looks just like this. Just for you guys' awareness, this is a New York strip. Look at the thickness on this steak. Okay, this is a New York strip. Look at the marbling. Oof. I'm not even kidding. It's probably Gus is trying to come over here. This is my new favorite. So my buddy Matt sends me these steaks, and this is actually my new favorite. I'd never tried this steak until I did the sous vide. This is a USDA Prime boneless ribeye steak. Now, I'm not a huge fan of like gristle and fat on steaks. I understand that the marbling is different than the gristling and the fat, this stuff, okay? The marbling is what you want to look for in a good steak because the marbling actually melts into the steak. Okay, and it makes it juicy. The gristle I'm not a huge fan of, well, that's okay. But there's something about this cut of steak that the meat itself, the way that, I don't know how to explain it, the tenderness of it or something, it is absolutely amazing. So I tried a sous vide on this one, and I'll show you a video of the sous vide while I'm talking to you about this. I've never done a sous vide. I bought one just to see because I've heard that it's a great way to cook steak perfectly every time. So I throw it in the sous vide, I think it was like 350 or 360 for 2 hours. And so what you have to do is put it in the baggie with your butter and your garlic and all that kind of stuff, and then you stick it in the sous vide at a certain temperature it's like a slow cook, basically. But because it's in a vacuum sealed bag, obviously the water doesn't touch the meat. It just uses the heat of the water to cook the meat perfectly. And let me tell you, it was absolutely perfect. Okay, so pull it out of the sous vide at the exact time because it has a timer and it tells you everything. You undo the baggie, and then you sear your steaks. Now, this is the most important part of the damn steak, okay? So what I did was I took my Chicago steak spice and I put it on top, and then I seared it on my griddle, okay? Because the steak is cooked. You can eat it as is if you want, but I love that crunchy exterior when you sear a steak, okay? So you don't want to go too long, maybe a minute on each side. That's why when you cook in the sous vide, if you like yours medium rare, you take it out 5 or 6 to 10 minutes before that temperature hits, okay? And then you can sear it because the searing is going to cook it further. So once you're done searing it, about a minute and a half on each side, put your butter all over it and baste it like you always do with steak, okay? You let that beauty rest for 5 to 10 minutes because if you don't let your steak rest, there's something wrong with you. And so the sous vide was an absolute master success. I absolutely think this is going to be where they cook steak from now on. And obviously with Chicago Steak Company steak because they are marbled like beauties. The cuts are amazing. They're thick. That New York strip fed 3 of us. That's how thick that steak is. And so when I have steak day at my house, I cook like 6 or 7 steaks. I invite my friends over and I cut up like a smorgasbord of steaks. So I cut them up nicely and people take a piece of each, throw a potato on or whatever you want. And it's just our way of doing steak night. So Chicago Steak hooks me up with the steaks and I'm telling you all about them. And so again, not an ad, guys, but if you go to mychicagosteak.com, use code DAD, I'm sure my buddy Matt's gonna hook you up with a sweet deal. Okay, I don't even know what it is. Just use my code DAD to let them know you came because I want you to buy their steaks because they are the best steaks. And I want you to let me know what you think. Their burgers are amazing. They got Wagyu burgers. Everything that they sell is amazing. And they have all these videos I've done for them in the past on their website about like how to cook a steak. And this is my fat era, so don't go watch them or watch them if you want to learn. But these guys are dedicated to bringing you the best steak. And I'm sure if Matt could head to the place where the cows live, he would serenade them with ukulele if it would make the steaks taste better, he would do it. That's how dedicated he is to his craft. And so Matt, if you're listening, I love you, bro. Thank you for the steaks. You're amazing, guys. Please head over to mychicagosteak.com. Use code DAD to get your steak today. Today we're talking about something crazy, so let's get to it. right, so wheelchair Rapunzel is bananas. Bananas. What the hell is going on over there? So I had to start a new subreddit called Rapunzel's Wheelchair. And it has this graphic that people were dying at. So basically, I've been covering wheelchair Rapunzel from the beginning. She's a person who is... I don't know, she wants to be famous, but she's a train wreck in every absolute possible way. And then she has a daughter and then starts exploiting this child on the internet and says she's not going to exploit the child. Then she exploits the child some more, then does, and then goes back and forth. The child goes to live with her mom, then the child comes back and blah, blah, blah. It's if you think about this, forget about Alex and forget about Noah, who are the two top people in this story, obviously. Think about this child and what she's going through. That's the crazy. Like, she almost died choking on confetti at one point. There is no way that Alex Stacey can take care of this child. Okay, the child care costs are enormous, and she needs 24-hour care. So a child person that comes in to take care of Alex also needs to take care of a child, and she's not getting licensed professionals to do it because she wants these people who are coming in to feed her alcohol and to create OnlyFans content with her, film her and do her cooking content and everything else. Like, if you go to her TikTok, like, this is what she does. Watch this.
I'm obsessed with my cooking content, and I know I'm disabled, but I do it all myself. Like, no one helped me cut those onions right there. I did that, by myself.
No, she didn't. She didn't cut those onions.
It's so inspirational, so let's make some inspirational rigatoni.
So she's like, I do everything by myself, and then you're going to obviously see that it's not her hands nor her feet that are doing this. See, that's not Alex's hand, because it doesn't have cheese on it. She did not cut those. And then so what she'll do, she'll cut her into this, and she's like, hey, hold this wooden spoon and stir for a bit. So it looks like she's doing something. She's not. She's basically, for all intents and purposes, a little kid helping. Can I help? I'm Helpertons. And she's not.
On the way, y'all. Alex, look at you stirring the pot.
And so they think that's funny because she's like, look at you stirring the pot, because Alex stirs the pot. Alex creates rage bait. If you guys don't get the joke, she creates rage bait because it brings people to view and it makes her money. But Alex is absolutely crashing and burning everybody, and you'll see.
I can't help it. I just like to serve pots. Okay, now
serve pots.
We pour it in. 1, 2, 3, say it.
Okay, spit it in. 1, 2, 3, say it. 1, 2, 3, say it. Say it. Say it. It's so natural.
Oh yeah.
Did it wrong, man.
Perfecto.
Stop saying things in an Italian accent when you don't have it.
Yeah. This is spinach.
Jeez.
For some folate and iron. And we add the basil.
Anyway, this is the content she does. So someone says you're still a PD file, which is true, because if you don't know the last video, we discussed that Alex had found a 13-year-old boy in her building to come give her a bath. And it's disgusting. If you switch the roles, that person would be in jail. A male would be in jail if he got a 13-year-old girl in his building to come give him a bath naked. He'd be in prison. She's not. She got away with it. Someone says, do you have a GoFundMe? I want to donate. Someone says, do you live with your parents now? What is this new place? No, it's Noah's parents. That's the only way she'll let them see their grandchild. So she's been staying at Noah's parents' house because, again, they want to see their grandchild. But apparently, that's all finished and clear. It's done. It's over. She's not there anymore. And this is what happened. Rapunzel's wheelchair here. So this is her FB post that came across. So I have a rare genetic disease called SMA type 2, and I recently was kicked out from the home I was staying at with my 2-year-old daughter. I'm a single mother. Her father has never contributed to her financially. He's emotionally, financially, physically, and sexually abused me over the course of 3 years. Now, she's making some pretty bold claims here. So she's saying it, and she's saying it out loud because she's literally shilling for GoFundMe. I always held that he could be the father that he promised me he could be, but his addictions always took over. I finally supported him and my daughter for over 2 years. I financially supported him and my daughter for over 2 years myself by means of social media career. Because of my physical disability, I need to pay for my own care and care for my daughter because the father is not in the picture. Roughly $500 a day. That's crazy expensive. $20 an hour for 24 hours a day. Now, Alex is being kind of a hypocrite here talking about addiction because she's an absolute full-blown alcoholic, right? Just full-blown alcoholic, and we're going to see that in a minute too. Recently, he was arrested on a battery charge against me because he was physically violent against me when he was visiting. This wasn't the first time, however. It was the first time I was brave enough to confront the abuse. He was sent to jail on a battery charge against me, and his family bailed him out. His parents, who I was staying with, were angry at me for deciding to file a police report and decided to kick me out of their home. I was told by his family that if I proceeded with the prosecution of their son, that they would not let me stay there anymore. The police officers gave me plenty of resources for women in distress, which I have been in contact with, and they have been assisting me with resources that I can get to help with my daughter. Because of my disability and my inability to care for my daughter physically, she's saying it, I've had to seek emergency housing and 24-hour caregivers, which is extremely costly. Her father has stolen my money over the course of 3 years to fund his drug habits. All of those charges are currently in dispute, but have financially hurt my situation drastically. He currently has a no contact order with me, has violated it, and has a court date coming up soon. Right now, I'm trying to protect my child and do the best thing I can as a disabled mother, and money that is donated will go towards my beautiful daughter. Food, clothes, she forgot to write high noons in there, because she's a full-blown alcoholic, so if she's staying in emergency housing, she can't be drinking, so she must be going through it. And she is, because we have a picture of it. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Ask for help. She does it all the time. I know I'm not alone, but any help I appreciate. This is what she then posted. This is her being sober, by the way. This is why. Thank you so much for all your support. I know all of you probably have a lot of questions. I will address everything, but I need to get therapy. So she needs to get into outpatient, is what she needs to get into, a place where she quit drinking. She is absolutely toasted. She's finished. Okay, so that's kind of like sort of the update that's been going on. And this is on the Rapunzel's wheelchair page that I just had to restart because mine got kicked. I don't know why it got booted. I have no idea. I guess there's got to be more stringent rules. I think Reddit there are so many snark pages. If you go to my snark page, they're like, some of them are pretty relentless, and Reddit doesn't do anything about it. But I guess on this page, it's because she has she's in a wheelchair. I guess they don't put up with it. I don't know. But I guess there's new rules here. And so just take a look at those when you come over to the Rapunzel's wheelchair page, which already has 589 people. Okay. Apparently Noah did a live stream, which I missed, but that's okay because I've got an interview right here coming up with Noah that we did back in March that I've been holding on to because he didn't want to release it. Now that everything's kind of hitting the fan, he's like, go ahead and release it, because he says some shit in this interview that's and he already says it in his little reels too. She basically has broken the law, and he was just trying to protect her. He's like saying, I guess he used it for insurance. And if she's going to do what she was going to do, he was going to release the things that she's done. And apparently she's committing fraud, welfare fraud, and like disability check fraud. That's a pretty big deal. And if people are donating to her GoFundMe at the tune of $6,255, this is a person who's one of the most hated. And when I first saw this GoFundMe, it was at, I think, $5,000, and then she had $3,000 raised. Now that she got more, she raised it to $9,000. So that's what she posted here. People are donating to this person, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. Why would you donate to this person? You're just going to enable her to go off the deep end even more. This child honestly needs to be with Noah's parents. They need to get custody. That's what I'm saying, okay? That's a kinship placement, sort of like what's going on with Doherty Dozen and Deshawn. This is what needs to happen here. She cannot take care of this child. Noah's parents are likely more than willing to take care of the child. They just don't want her at the house. Because she's a full-blown flaming alcoholic living in their home, and probably taking advantage of them and everything else so they can see their granddaughter. Now, either it's kinship or this daughter honestly needs to be taken away from her, because Noah obviously can't parent, okay? I'm not saying Noah's innocent in all this. If he actually did physically assault wheelchair Rapunzel, then he should have been charged. That's the nature of it. Sorry. If you did it, you did it. And apparently he did it. In the police report, it does say that he pushed her with 3 fingers like this, and people are like, well, it's just 3 fingers. No, man. No. If you're doing things in anger, no. And just don't. Just err on the safe side and don't physically touch someone who doesn't want to be touched, because even if you spit or push them a little bit or whatever the case may be, that's assault, and he was obviously arrested for that. So clearly they are both needing a lot of help. Okay, this child is in the middle of it all, and she needs to be taken out of the situation. That's what we're talking about here. And I asked Noah I said, hey, explain the night you were arrested, what happened, and I'll let everyone know. He says, it was a normal day like any other. I went down to the courthouse to file for paternity. When I got back to the house, Alex asked where I had been, and I told her. She then left with her caregiver to go somewhere. I stayed home and decided to take a nap. That's when I woke up and the cops at my bedside. Then they promptly arrested me. She called like 2 hours after our last interaction. So he doesn't say that he did. He clearly did push her, and then she called the police. But it was after he went down to the courthouse to file for paternity. Now, I'm not sure how that's all going to work. I'm not sure how costly that's going to be, but it's definitely going to be a good thing if they want to get this kid out of her care and into his parents' care, which, again, shouldn't be in Alex's mom's care either, which she was for the last few months. And we're going to find that out in the interview here with Noah. So then Noah does this Ask Away Q&A on his Instagram, right? It's pretty important. Says, did Alex let a 13-year-old wash her? Yes, she did. No idea why the mother didn't press charges, but I'm in the process of telling her she should proceed. This one says, was it just a 3-finger push, or was there more to it? Honesty equals support. I didn't lay a finger on Alex. She is lying to make me look bad because I want paternity. So he's claiming he didn't push her. That's his outward claim. So she waited 2 hours, left the place, called the police, and he was arrested. Okay, well, man, that's crazy. Where's Alex staying? Apparently emergency housing, whatever that means. What the heck's going on with y'all? Hope Ari's okay. One could only hope Ari's okay, but honestly I have no idea how she's doing. Did Alex ruin your relationship with Eloise? 100%. She's very vengeful. This is his ex-girlfriend. Why do you have 100? Why you don't have 100% over your baby? Why don't you stay in school? Good question. I guess because Alex is the mother, so she automatically gets custody, which makes zero sense since she's disabled and can't even take care of herself, let alone a child. Where is Ari living? Sadly with her mother. Why is she so crazy? Because of her deranged mom. I think Alex has NDP, same for her mom. Has Alex ever hit you with her wheelchair? Many, many times. To the point where she left bruises on my feet. Because she's disabled, it's not considered DV. She has also hit my mom. Is Alex an unfit mother? Absolutely. As mentioned earlier, she can't even take care of herself, yet alone a child. On top of that, she's a raging alcoholic. What happened with Eloise? Broke up because of Alex. What fraud has Alex been committing? Mainly Illinois state disability as far as I know. She also hasn't ever paid her taxes in her life. So there's that, which you'll hear in the interview. What do you want to say? You've been through so much. Alex is not a victim. She's a perpetrator and put me through years of verbal, emotional, and physical abuse. When was the last time Alex tried to get back together with you? The other day. Have your parents wiped their hands clean of Alex? Yes, my mom said she's completely done after this. Did Alex ever run into a baby or pets with the wheelchair? She hit Ari so hard with her wheelchair it nearly broke her arm. Poor thing was in pain for days. As for Bubba, she hits him all the time. She doesn't really care. I gotta take this all with a grain of salt because it's he said, she said, like her police report. Was Alex supposed to be moved out by the time you came back for a visit? No, on the contrary, Alex might actually bought me a plane ticket to come back. Did you ever find Alex attractive? No. It's also sad because when she was with your parents, it seems she was getting the best care. Oh my God, my parents give her amazing care. Take her to the park, go to church daycare, got her dental and medical insurance. She was prospering. Now she's going back to a bunch of drunks who put her in front of a TV all day and don't take her to the doctor. What's up with her mom? Batshit crazy, aggressive alcoholic. Was Ari with Alex's parents for months on end at one point? Indeed. Why does CPS allow a woman who can't even feed herself to stay with a baby? The same reason they allowed her to essay a 13-year-old not get in trouble. So if Alex is staying at her carers, shouldn't someone notify CPS she recently essayed a child the same age? They should notify the police of that. What are some examples of thing Alex's parents have done to make them so bad? John headbutted his wife so hard blood was gushing out of her nose, as per Jackie. John has also not been present in Alex's life at all up until this Reddit bullshit came about. As for the mom, she's physically and verbally abusive towards Alex, says really horrible things a mother should never say to her child. She also punched Alex in the face a couple of months ago. How can Alex hit your mom if she really can't move her hands? Rammed her into the couch with her wheelchair. It's crazy that she can just decide to take your daughter and leave. Literally insane. Have never felt so helpless. Why did you date Alex in the first place? I was desperate and fresh out of rehab. Was Alex drinking at your parents? Wouldn't miss a day. Was Ari's speech and other things delayed because of her time at Alex's parents? Very much so. They would put her in front of a TV all day. What do your siblings think of Alex? My whole family thinks Alex is evil and a massive piece of shit. How much does Alex drink a day on average? I'd say 10 high noons. Damn. A day. Why didn't you call the cops for kidnapping? I don't have custody, so technically it's not kidnapping. Oh, also, do you know if Alex's parents currently live together in the same house? Yeah, they do, which is concerning. Always getting into physical altercations and the mom threatening to kill herself after she's had a few. What does your dad think of her? Evil narcissist, also selfish, only cares about herself, not Ari. Do Alex's parents have money? If they did, I would be seriously concerned, considering the state of their home. Doesn't even have a floorboard. What did you think of the Alex and that dude Eclipse situation? I think it showed her true colors. Why didn't you report her to CPS? Because I don't want to see my kid go into the system. But I don't think your kid will go to the system if they have willing parents. Your parents are willing. They have a willing kinship placement. They will do that first. That's where they will go first. Are Alex's belongings at your parents' house? A lot of them, yeah. She even left the $1,500 Adidas Gucci shoes. Why does she have Gucci shoes? Does Alex smell? Is it really like cheese? Alex smells disgusting like all the time. I even tell it to her face. Did she really call your mom and see you next Tuesday? Yes, that's what my mom said was the final straw. Why haven't you reported her for not declaring her income and avoiding paying taxes? That'll be my next step. So how many people are enabling her drinking? Because she makes money, so they don't deem her functional. Why did she ram into your mom into the couch? Did you say it was an accident or on purpose? She was mad at her. They were arguing. So that's the end of that reel. Okay. So that's kind of the update going on Wheelchair Rapunzel. She's in emergency housing. She's probably going to capitalize on it. She's going to use her daughter to raise money. It's absolutely gross. She will stop at nothing. Noah is probably not innocent in all this either, obviously. But I did do an interview with Noah back in March, where it seemed like he was clean to me and we had a good conversation about the stuff. He just really wanted to get the information out there and he was holding on to it. And I said, hey, I will hold on to this thing or never play it until you give me permission. And he's finally given me permission to air this interview, which basically everything he says here. But here is the interview for you guys to have a look at. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dad Challenge podcast. I have a very special guest, if you didn't know, Noah here from the Wheelchair Rapunzel lore, which is a crazy story that we've been covering for a very long time. A lot of people cover it. There's snark forums out there. There's a lot of stuff that has gone down over the past couple of years, and it's just... Noah reached out to me and said, hey, let's have this conversation about it. Now, online, Noah and I haven't always seen eye to eye, but at the same time, we are both dads and we are both online, and it's time to have a conversation about what's going on, because I think that, Noah, you've been wronged, basically from what I've been seeing. And no matter what we think about each other, what we think about the internet, there are some boundaries that should not be crossed. And especially if both of you share a child, that's a big deal, and all that stuff going on. So I've got some questions I want to ask you, and if you have anything you want to say, this is the forum to do that. And so I want to say I appreciate you coming on and having this conversation with me.
Thank you so much, Josh.
Okay, cool. So tell me, so let's just start right from the beginning, okay? So how did you meet Wheelchair Rapunzel? Like, what's the lore? What's the beginning, the origin story? We all need to hear it from your mouth.
Yeah. So I was fresh out of rehab, and I was on the dating apps, Bumble, Tinder, all that. And I happened to match with Alex on Bumble. And honestly, it's kind of crazy because like her photo, it was like cropped to where you couldn't see. And I have nothing against disabled people, but like it had been something I hadn't been with in the past and something I didn't know if I was necessarily comfortable being with. So like when I first clicked on her thing and matched with her, I didn't even know she was disabled. And then later I went through her photos, I found out. I talked to some buddies and they said, give it a shot, give her a shot. And so we talked for a few days, and then I ended up going over to her house. We hung out. The first red flag though was I was in recovery and she was drinking alcohol right in front of me.
And she knew that you were in recovery at this point. So you guys had some conversations over chat and everything else. She knew you were in recovery. And, congratulations to you for being in recovery. That's a pretty big deal. Again, much as we talk about this shit on the internet, it's a big deal for you. And I appreciate that you're coming out and being clean about that. But so the big red flag is she's drinking in front of you. Also, I have to go back a little bit. Like, so you match with her and her Bumble profile, she's not showing she's in a wheelchair. She's not showing anything else. And so how did that not throw you? What's the true reaction you had once you figured out, oh my gosh, she's actually like disabled? I mean, I feel like in my opinion, that would be not catfishing, but that's not telling you the whole truth right up front.
No, it's not. And I feel like she does struggle with like some insecurity regarding her disability and like attracting men and things like that. So, I mean, at first I was like, I was a little, I guess, uncomfortable with it. I wasn't exactly sure about it, which is why I talked to some buddies and I was like, hey, like, what do you think about this? And they kind of like reaffirmed me. They're like, I mean, give her a shot. And so, I decided to give her a shot.
So you're meeting up, she's drinking, and this is making you feel a little uncomfortable, but then what kind of, again, I'm not looking for nitty gritty details of like the birds and the bees, but I'm just looking for kind of how that kind of continued on after the big red flag was shown that you're in recovery, and she doesn't seem to care or doesn't understand that those in recovery shouldn't be around those things. How did that make you feel?
I guess I was kind of in a vulnerable position, especially like being fresh out of rehab. And a common thing we do as addicts is we look for another addiction to replace our other addiction. And for me, that was, females. And so I guess I kind of bit the bullet and I stuck with it, and I, continued engaging with her, which probably at that point I should have just been like, nope, this is it, I'm done. But, me being naive and being fresh in recovery, I guess I decided to carry on with it. And so, yeah, we kept talking, and then, one thing led to another. We ended up hooking up, continued to talk, and it kind of just went from there, kind of deal.
So it sounds like there was something there at the beginning. It sounds like you did like her, she did like you, and you stuck with her. And it wasn't. I don't think it was out of pity. It sounds like you genuinely liked her. Like what drew you to her during those times we actually were dating and doing all that stuff?
I think she has a bubbly personality. I think she's easy to talk to. I think I enjoyed conversation with her. She's funny. Initially, she seems like a good catch, honestly.
Yeah. Without knowing all the lore about her, that's, I mean, and maybe as much as we don't like her and all the shit that she has done, I mean, maybe deep down she does have some good qualities. Like I think everybody deserves and has some, they're not all irredeemable. Some people are, but they're not all irredeemable. I don't think that she's completely irredeemable, but I just think that getting into social media, this life that she has to lead, has led her down a dark path, and she let it lead her down that dark path.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Tell me about then when she gets pregnant. What happens here? Like what happens in your life when you discover that this thing is happening?
I would say another situation where I was very naive because I didn't really know everything that went in. I mean, of course, I had knowledge of everything that goes into parenting, but I didn't really. In theory and in reality are two different things. I mean, oh yeah, it sounds nice to have a kid, blah blah blah. But there's a lot that goes into it. And especially when you're fresh in recovery and you're, 23 at the time? I mean, I don't think I was all that ready for that kind of commitment. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be transparent. And so initially, I guess I was shocked, but I guess at the same time kind of excited. I didn't really think about what the future would hold or like what this would pan out like. And so I kind of just went along with it, and I supported her throughout the whole journey. I was sober for most of the pregnancy. The first 7 months I knew her, I was sober. And yeah, so like I supported her, and we moved out to Coloma, which is in Michigan. And, I helped her, I took care of her needs. And what's up?
So both of you are from Michigan.
No, we're not from Michigan, but her dad had a house in Michigan, allowed us to stay there rent free, which is what happened.
Okay. And so when she's going through this pregnancy and you're getting to know her, is there any, and you don't have to answer this question, it might be too personal, but is there a time you're like, man, that's a scary thing because this woman is a tiny little body and she's going to give birth to a baby, and you have to understand there's got to be complications. Was there anything that kind of was there a conversation about was there ever a conversation about how are we going to do this as parents? Or did she just say, no, we're doing this? And did you, and this follow-up question to that would be, did she capitalize on I know she did because I was there. She capitalized on the pregnancy, but was there ever a conversation about how this would make her social media? Because she makes her money on social media. That's her bread and butter. Was there any conversation about how this is going to affect her as a person and you as a person, and then what it's going to do for her career?
Never a conversation, but I feel like it was almost like an elephant in the room kind of deal where it's like, it didn't really have to be said, but that there's going to be some commotion and there's going to be some explosion of some sort as a result of all this going on.
And while this is all going on, and her haters and fans are all talking about it, is it true that, and I know this as a creator, but is it true as creators who have snark forums and everything else that they are totally immersed in not only their fan culture but in their snark culture?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I am too. I read my snark forum all the time. So,
really?
Okay. Oh yeah, I love it. I think some of them are funny, but some of them are not. So break her down for us a little bit. So, anything we don't know, stories you're willing to share. I mean, again, this people are coming here to listen to your stories. And it could be good or bad, or it could be anything that we were right about, that we were wrong about. Just kind of tell us what she's like as a person in real life, because we don't really know. We only see what she gets to show us.
Yeah. Alex puts on a persona, as you guys may know. She likes to put out a certain image to the world that she's this very altruistic, caring person about other people. When in reality, that's kind of the opposite of who she is. She's actually very selfish. She's very conceited. She's very into herself. She only cares about herself. I don't like to use the word narcissistic just because that's like an actual disorder, but she does exhibit, those kind of qualities, to say the least.
I think a lot of influencers do exhibit that because it takes. I think the tendencies and the flags that show off narcissistic personality disorder are the same thing that you see in influencers who share their entire lives on the internet, including OnlyFans content, including children, including all the good, the bad, the rage bait. Like when the scandals broke with her and the things that she did that caused people to be upset, like telling that lady that came out of the bathroom, hey, this is for disabled people, or lying about going clubbing or doing all those things. Like, first of all, was she lying when she says she's going out drinking all and rolling around in parking lots, and saying that she wasn't? Did she drink a lot?
She's calling me right now.
Oh my God. Uh-oh. Jeez. That's crazy.
From my understanding of addiction, she is an alcoholic. Yeah. I don't like to use that term lightly either. I don't.
But you lived it firsthand. You live it firsthand. Like, and I know, and I grew up with an alcoholic. So a lot of that stuff really, really shines through when I had that nanny on, or whatever, the caretaker on, that redheaded girl, she was saying she had high noons every single day. And then Alex came out and said, no, I didn't do that stuff. But who's right?
Hannah was right. Alex drinks pretty much every day. She goes through like periods where she'll like claim abstinence. But no, she drinks every day, and she drinks a lot. She doesn't have just one or two. She drinks to get blacked out. She drinks to get fucked up.
Yeah. And I feel like part of her life. And then she makes really shitty decisions while she's drunk, is what it sounds like to me. Like coming from a guy whose mother was an alcoholic, who made really bad choices when she was drunk. It sounds like that's when she gets more bold. That's when she thinks, I'll try this stuff, or I don't really care what the internet thinks. I'm going to say these things. And it sounds like that's kind of what happens.
Well, yeah, even she tries to, she makes very impulsive decisions, and like definitely does things on like a whim, and like doesn't really think things through when she drinks, and she gets very mean and spiteful, and like tries to come at me, and I'm sorry,
she's not letting you go.
No, I'm gonna have
Does she know that you're talking to me right now?
No, she does not.
Okay. I hope she's not hacked into my computer or something and sees what's talking. Wouldn't that be she's like a low-level hacker? Okay, so that's good. So basically what the people, including me and some of the Snarkers, the things that we say about her generally are pretty we're pretty on point.
On point? Yeah, I would say.
So your baby is born, then this is all going on. Everybody's kind of upset, and there are people who are happy, and there are people who are like, she can't take care of this. This is like one of the big points I try to make without trying to sound ableist, and I know that's really hard to do because there's a lot of people out there who have disabilities who really, really, really want kids, and I feel like people who want kids should be able to have kids, and kids are a blessing, and they're a miracle, and all that kind of stuff. But it's just, am I right in saying that there's just no physical possibility of her being able to parent a child safely with what her capabilities are?
I will say this. If you want to be a disabled parent, and I don't want to sound ableist either, you need to have the financial means. You have to have the financial means. That is a necessity. I hate to say it like that, but you're right. She cannot physically parent. Now, she cannot wipe a baby's bottom. She cannot change a baby's diaper. She can maybe barely feed a baby. She can't make the baby food. And I don't think that her being alone with a kid, even up to ages 6 or 8 alone, is appropriate. I don't personally.
And was she? And no, that's what I've been saying that on my channel forever. And so a lot of the things that we said was she ever alone then parenting this kid without a caregiver in the home? Or you? There
were few nights, yes, and she would always kind of gear in that direction where she would want to be left alone with the child, almost like asking me to like go out and do my own thing so she could be alone with the child. And I wasn't comfortable with it. I never felt comfortable with it. So I didn't want to be a part of that, but to my understanding, there definitely was like nights when, yeah, like Alex was alone with the child.
Well, especially when you guys aren't together, you guys are broken up and you're not welcome there and everything. There's nothing you can really, so it's not on you because she's going to do what she's going to do, but you can, if she's doing that without your knowledge, that kind of sucks. And if she doesn't have a caregiver there for that child, and it looks like the caregiver isn't there 24 hours a day. You were a lot of the times her 24-hour caregiver.
Right. 100%.
And how was that? Like, because again, like, dude, as much as we haven't seen eye to eye and everything, the one thing I will give you credit for is like you took on a responsibility that you didn't have to take on. What's it like to be, and I'm not looking for like to make fun of her, but like to be a caregiver of someone who cannot physically take care of themselves, that's got to be difficult. And you did that.
I will say this, it's not for everyone. I don't think everyone is capable of doing that. I think it takes a certain type of person because, yeah, it is like a full-time thing. You know, I mean, there's pretty much very little time when a moment goes by where Alex doesn't need something. And so, yeah, you're pretty much always like constantly helping that person. So you really got to have kind of like a caring kind of heart where you enjoy caring for people to take on such a role, I would say.
And so that brings me to another question, which is kind of important, is the caregivers that she does bring into her space, they're likely not licensed, because would a licensed caregiver actually give someone the amount of alcohol that Alex takes in a day? Like, would they even be allowed to do that?
If it was through an agency, no, I don't believe so. I think there'd be some like legal concerns. So no, I don't believe
because
so.
if something happens to her while she's drunk, that's going to be on the caregiver and they could be sued. And so that's why she always goes with like no names, they don't have insurance and all that kind of stuff, right? How many caregivers has she gone through since you?
3 or 4.
Yeah. And is she still on that same one that's like the pilot?
Selena, yeah.
Wow, interesting. She's been there for a while. Any regrets about that time? Like, I mean, everybody's got regrets in relationships, right? No relationship is ever perfect. Some parts are good, some parts are bad. But what are your biggest regrets out of that space that you guys were together?
I do wish that probably ended things sooner.
Okay.
To be honest with you. Alex is very verbally abusive. She says a lot of nasty stuff, especially when she gets drunk, and made me feel a lot less about myself. And I kind of just like took it, I guess, and I feel like I didn't deserve that, and she probably wasn't the right person to have a kid with. She wasn't.
Yeah.
She's not very in a financial stable position to be having a kid, especially given the nature of her disability. And so yeah, I mean, I don't regret Ari for a second. I think she's beautiful. I love her. But Alex probably wasn't the right person to have a kid with. And I also just regret engaging with her for so long and taking and putting up with the abuse for so long that she put me through. Made me feel like I wasn't worth anything. You're a loser. You have nothing to offer. No one's ever going to want you. I'm as good as it's going to get. I don't know, just like nasty foul stuff.
And I want to be clear that that type of abuse is, you know, it is as bad as physical abuse. I mean, that stuff is really, really detrimental, especially if people have addiction issues and all that kind of stuff. And so we should never diminish that. And I know it's easy to say that because you're a guy and we don't want to be like, oh yeah, I should. But the truth is if you're a man out there and you're being verbally abused, it's just as bad as anything that no one deserves that. Like, truly. So I want to touch on one thing you did talk on, like the money. This is a big deal for a lot of people because as influencers, the money comes in a bunch of different ways. At her peak, was she doing really, really well, and that's why she has this cockiness about her?
Yeah, I mean, when she started, even before I left, her brand deals, yeah, she did land some pretty good, big brand deals that were making her substantial amounts of money. You know, I mean, you know, there was a point, and I mean, maybe even today, when she was making like, you know, well over 6 figures, and so she was landing.
She's making 6 figures today.
No. I'm saying there was a point. There was a point when she was, and she was doing very well with her brand deals, and then this whole thing got out about this Andrew Hahn and all that. I'm sure you've heard about that.
No, explain this to me. Tell me about this. I need to know this.
Well, so there was this guy, Andrew Hahn, and he had like rape allegations against him, and that kind of like tainted her image when they found out she was like collabing on OF with him, and
I did not know that.
Making content with him and hanging out with him, living with him, all that, and a lot of people didn't like that. So
interesting. So like, again, I didn't touch into that type of stuff, but so she was living really large. She also gets disability, obviously, which probably would not pay for the lifestyle that she wants. What does she do with all their money then?
She spends a lot of money on food. I would say bulk of her money on like going out to eat and stuff like that. But also I did want to touch on, because you brought something up, the disability. Not many people know this, but she's getting money from the state of Illinois and she doesn't live there.
Ooh, that's
known as Social Security fraud. Yeah.
How is she pulling that off though, by living in Florida and at the same time pulling in six figures? Because isn't it like if you're I don't know if you just get disability no matter what, even though you make $1 million, let's say, but like it sounds like she's not even claiming the money she's bringing in, and she's doing disability fraud against the state of Illinois, which is a big deal.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Josh. And the way she was doing it is she was having her mom be the caregiver, and the mom would be getting the money, and then she would give the money to Alex.
So that what you just said is going to be the biggest bombshell so far, and people are going to be latching onto that. And so Alex doesn't want anybody to know this because obviously that could put her in prison.
Right. And she thinks because she's disabled, she won't go to prison. Like,
the prisons are, I think, are accessible. That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure they're accessible. So, okay, that's a pretty big deal, and it sucks because you bring this child in and everything seems to be okay for a little while. When does everything fall apart after that? And then you got a child in the middle of this whole thing. She's using the child in content and people are upset about it, including myself. And you're kind of on her side, then not on her side. How did that whole thing happen? And what was your take on the child becoming part of the content? So
I guess the pregnancy, I was okay with her documenting that. I didn't see a problem with her documenting the pregnancy at all. Now, when the kid came around, I definitely wouldn't say I was comfortable with her putting Ari in content because, I mean, there's a multitude of reasons, but one just being that, like, she doesn't even have the choice, to consent to being in that content. You know what I'm saying? So the danger that these kids are on. There's so much danger these kids are on. And again, if she's ever out in public without a caregiver and the skill, like, there's nothing she can do. Like, someone could break into her place and take this child. Like, I am trying to scare people, but I'm just saying this is a reality that does happen to people. Yeah. She cannot physically do anything to protect this child, so that's just one more thing. And so during all this, and that's happening, you guys are disagreeing on it. And it's all falling apart. How is that all playing out? Honestly, I don't think I verbalized it enough to her that it wasn't okay. I kind of just like went with it. She's like, this is what I do for a living. This is part of my life. And I didn't really argue back with her. And so it kind of just went on. I probably should have like advocated more for Ari and made a bigger deal about it. I mean, not that would have done anything because she's not going to listen to anyone but herself. But, at least I could sleep at night knowing that I tried to get Ari off the internet. Yeah, good for you. And so is it true that Alex burns every bridge? Does she have a lot of close friends or does she burn bridges? She does have close friends. She does. She's not like actively hanging out with them and all that, but she does stay in contact with them. I'm gonna give the full truth. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna appreciate lie. It. She does have friends. She has like 5 close friends. I don't think they know the real her. I don't think they really know what she's about. I don't think until you've really lived with someone, you really know what they're about. And yeah, I mean, I have a front row seat to Alex Stacey's life. I see it all. I know that girl inside and out. So that saying that, what do you want us to know? Like, what
and I want to go back to other things, but this is a really important thing. The reason you wanted to reach out to me and talk to me, and the Reddit thread's going crazy, is because what has she been doing? You guys obviously had this big fallout, and it sucks, and I'm hoping this kid is okay, but we'll get back to that in a second. But what has she been doing, relentlessly attacking you? Like, what has been happening?
As you guys know, I have a girlfriend now. I don't know if you were aware of that, Josh.
I've seen inklings of it on Reddit.
Right. And she's basically trying to sabotage that relationship. She's reaching out to,
So it sounds like what she's doing is exactly what she did to Hannah. So she didn't like what Hannah did, and so she reaches out to Hannah's parents and literally destroys the relationship Hannah had with her parents because she's saying a bunch of stuff. So it sounds like what you want to move on with your life, and Alex isn't going to let you without ruining your life first, or trying to ruin your life first. That's what it sounds like she's doing. That's
like 100% it, Josh. That's it. Like, you nailed it on the head.
So how can you fight this, and what are you doing to mitigate this?
There's really not much I can do other than come to you, speak publicly about this. Just reach out to the Social Security Administration, let them know what's going on. I'm not really a spiteful person, but I guess I am, because if you're going to try to ruin my life, like, you're not just going to get away with it. I believe in justice, and I don't think she's ever had justice in her life, because she gets away with a lot, and she thinks she's invincible.
I think there's a difference between being spiteful and wanting justice, especially if someone has wronged you. She's the one being spiteful because she likely has, there's three sides to every story: her side, your side of the truth, and everybody's going to have their own take on everything. Sounds like you got, like, honestly, Noah, not ever talking to you before, you sound like you're very well educated. You sound like a nice guy to me. Sound like you get your head on straight. And again, you've obviously had your struggles in the past, and she's going to use those against, and you're going to use that. But that's like the fact that she continues to do this. And what have you told her? Like, how have you said? Have you said you got to stop this? And then what does she say?
I beg her to stop. I beg her. And she just turns it around on me and says, "Oh, well, you've done me wrong, and you've done this, and you've done that, and you were high most of our relationship." And she just tries to flip it back on me and just say that, "Oh, this is like me getting back at you for everything you've done wrong." Mm-hmm. And but the reality is, like you said, Josh, is just that I think she wants me all to herself and does not want to see me move on.
And I think the other reality is that's very much true, because again, you guys have had a long relationship. But the other reality is it seems like she doesn't like when people abandon her, even though she deserves it. Thinks that she's something that she's not, and so when it's discovered that she is not that thing, she freaks out.
Right, 100%.
So you don't have to answer this, but you can answer, or we can take it out. But where is your daughter now, and is she safe, and is everything okay?
Yeah, she's in Palos Heights in Illinois, and she is with the other grandparents. She is safe. She is
your parents or her parents?
Her parents.
Okay, and she's safe with her parents?
I mean, you can only hope for the best, Josh.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about her parents that you know of, like, because from what we gather on Reddit and things like that, we don't think that her mother is safe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope that she is, and I pray that, but why is she just there, and will Alex just never see her again, or she just see her once in a blue moon? This sucks for this kid, because it sounds like she got a loving dad and grandparents this side too. Do you guys split custody? How does this work?
Fortunately, I don't have custody, because I was in rehab when she had the chance to put me on the birth certificate and chose not to, because her mom did. The reason I don't want to speak poorly on behalf of the mom is because I do not want to see Ari get taken into how do I say it? I don't want to see her get taken into foster care. So I kind of just like let things be. But like in reality, no. Jackie's an alcoholic. She's not a safe person. She's a violent person. I would never want her part of my kid's life, personally. If I had a choice.
But you have no choice, and that really, really sucks.
I don't have custody. Yeah, and
is there any way you can fight for custody?
I'm trying. I'm trying to get sober again. I'm trying to do the right things, and I'm trying to go for custody. Prove to the courts that I'm sober. Prove to the courts that I can, I maintain a job, make money for the kid, and then hopefully, get my own place and get custody. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, Josh. But. Mm-hmm. I'm not there yet, I'll be honest. And, you know, it is sad to kind of have to sit there and just watch, but I really don't have a choice.
And she can hold that over you too, not gonna lie. Like, she's got leverage. And so this is the most heartbreaking part about this case, regardless of when you want to talk about drama, tea, all that shit. There's a child in the middle of this who's likely living with an alcoholic grandmother who you said is violent. And I think we all realize that. I think even Alex has said some stuff about that. And this, like, growing up with an and she said that. And like, reality of a kid growing up with an alcoholic mother, that scares the shit out of me, dude. Like, that is actually scary. And I mean, either that kid's going to grow up with an alcoholic grandmother or an alcoholic mother, and everything that's going on in between. So I really hope things can get better. But why was Alex so reluctant to tell everybody the truth then? And nobody really knew. And then they found out. And then she's just, oh yeah, she's not going to be here. Why does Alex lie about that shit?
Lies about Ari, I would imagine, to protect her. As far as the lying, I think she just wants to, I mean, yeah, she has to move. She's definitely moving. She's getting kicked out of her place. So I don't think she's lying about moving. As far as like moving into like another apartment, that's a whole different story. I don't think that's true.
Where can she go? If she can't get a place, if she can't afford it, what the hell is she going to do?
And she doesn't have the credit for it. I mean, a 550 credit score is not going to cut it. You know what I mean?
So what, she's living the high life for so long, gets a nice apartment now, everything, and I know this because I can see her numbers, everything is kind of falling apart. She's probably making a little bit, but not enough to survive. Where is she going to go?
She's probably going to end up moving back into my parents' place.
Your parents' place? What the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, sounds like your parents are nice people, and but are they just doing that? They feel for her, but are they doing that because Ari's their grandchild?
Exactly. So that's the mother of their grandchild. Yeah.
I mean, I get that. I get that.
Well, let me bring up another point, Josh, because I think this needs to be made known. She is illegally posting content of me and her on her OnlyFans to make money because she's reached the bottom of the barrel and she can't monetize her tits anymore. It's not, people aren't buying that anymore. So now she's selling me without my permission videos of me having sex with her. I mean, granted, yeah, I did film those videos with her, but like, I never told her to go and post those videos. You get what I'm saying?
Sounds like you guys did that as consenting adults together, and that was something that you wanted to do together, not meant for OnlyFans. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And so she's posting what's considered revenge porn then, and she's monetizing it, which should be even more illegal. What have you done? Holy shit, that's crazy. So what have you done to try to stop that? Have you reached out to the OnlyFans moderators or like?
I reached out to OnlyFans. Yeah, I tried to file a report. Didn't really hear back anything about that. They're kind of hard to get in contact with. I might have to go, Josh.
Okay. So tell me about how that's all going down and what you've done to stop it, how far you've gotten, and some of the walls you're coming up against, because I think it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, she's been in recent times posting a lot of what I consider revenge porn online, videos that like I never approved of her posting. As like you said earlier, like she's kind of running out of options to monetize her OnlyFans. I mean, people are kind of tired of seeing like what the content she's been posting, you know, basically just like her body and stuff like that. And so she's kind of like taking it to the next level, I guess you could say. And, you know, I've told her several times I'm not okay with her posting this kind of content, but she doesn't seem to take that into consideration. She doesn't seem to care all that much about that. And, at this point, I feel like there's not much I can do about it. I mean, yeah, I have reported it to OnlyFans. My face isn't actually in it, so I don't know, you know, how the stat sheets work as far as revenge porn. But I'm definitely not okay with it, and I do wish she would stop, or at least, you know, use someone else for, you know, her content purposes, which, you know, she can definitely do.
Now, and even though you can't see your face, you know it's you, and there are probably distinct things that you don't want out there. I mean, this is obviously, I think no matter what reputation you have, Noah, what you've been accused of and the things you've done wrong and all that kind of stuff, if you don't want your porn on the internet, I think that people should should honor that. And I just was, while you were talking about it, I looked it up under the section 784-049 in Florida. Revenge porn is sexual cyber harassment. Under 784-049, a person may be found guilty of disseminating revenge porn if he or she maliciously and willfully sexually cyber harasses another person. She's breaking another law, especially in Florida in general, posting this stuff. And what's crazy to me is that OnlyFans will do nothing about it. That to me is like, holy crap. Like, so we're entering into a situation where she feels that this is the only way she can make money, which I think is absolutely silly, by the way, because she has other talents and abilities, and there are major incentives for companies to hire people who have what do you call it? Not special needs, mobility issues, and like have special needs to a degree. She knows how to run social media. She knows how algorithms work. She could get a job in this industry if she really wanted to. And she could say, look, I amassed a massive following. I know what I'm doing. Plus it's in your best interest to hire someone in a wheelchair, because that, there's so many things for her to go get a real job, to go work in the real world, without just getting disability, which again she's committing fraud for. So she knows she was making a bunch of money, 6 figures, and pulling in disability checks. This woman is like, it just keeps getting worse, and she still goes on the internet and has she said anything about this porn that she's putting on the internet with you? Has she said anything? Like, she's like, I don't care. Is there any proof that she does it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it got to a point where I got pretty upset about it, and I'm just like, dude, this is not cool. I'm not okay with this. Like, I will report you for this. And she basically just tells me to go for it. Like I said, she kind of has this complex where she feels almost invincible and like nothing's going to happen to her. She's not going to have any repercussions. And I just don't believe that to be the case, or nor should it be the case. And yeah, no, ultimately she just doesn't really care. She doesn't care. She feels almost like entitled to it. She says that like I owe her in a sense. So she feels that she's okay. She's allowed to post that.
Yeah, but there's a consent issue here. It doesn't matter if you owe her, even if you did owe her. Let's say you did. That's like we're talking about in the world we live in today. That consent is one of the biggest things, especially when it comes to this type of material. Like, that's again bordering on sexual cyber harassment. That's just as bad as anything else. And so she gets to get away with it because she feels she's invincible, because she's in a wheelchair. And she's like, well, the people that use that victim card mentality to do whatever they want, they actually make it worse for those people who are victims themselves, or who do have the, like, she's making it worse for everybody. And so, like, you've done what you can. The next step, I think, for you is you're gonna have to file a police report. Like, I'm sorry, like, unfortunately, there's things you're gonna have to do before it all can come to a head. Is there, like, as much as I'm sure people don't like you, especially on the Reddit threads and all that kind of stuff, but can we report it as well without joining her OnlyFans? Because there's no way I would ever. But like, can we report it?
I believe so, yeah, and that would actually be very helpful, and I would appreciate that very much.
Because, I mean, again, no matter what you think about Noah, everybody, and everybody's got history here, and there's like a bunch of shit that went down. Like, this should get people upset, because she's literally posting, like, imagine your ex did that for you because they felt you owed them something and she needed it to make money on the internet. Like, to me, that's mind blowing. She's broke, and so she's using content she created with you in private to put, like, that's crazy. Like, of all the shitty things she's done, and she's done a lot of shitty things, that's craziness to me. Like, people should be up in arms about this. Her followers should be like, how dare you? But like, maybe they don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe they don't know. So Noah, is there anything else you want to kind of share before we go? Because this interview's been really, really eye-opening and enlightening, and I kind of see what you're doing here, and I kind of respect it, because you're weaponizing your my platform against her, and I don't blame you, because if she's doing this craziness against your will, against your consent, I understand why you're doing this. So is there anything else you want to kind of let us know and say before we kind of exit this interview?
Just that I feel like y'all already have preconceived notions on Wheelchair Rapunzel that aren't exactly the best, so you kind of guys do have some insight into her not being this exactly upstanding citizen, for lack of better words, or
it doesn't look like we're wrong, though. That's what you've been telling us. Right. Everything that people kind of see, you're corroborating that we're basically right.
Right.
Yeah.
I just I'll leave it on that. And
as much as I'm on the internet causing a ruckus and being a dickhead to a lot of people, and even including you. We've had back and forths. My goal really is truly to have great conversations with people, and I honestly wish you the best, because I think it's good that you've gotten away from her, but I think it sucks that she's pulled you back into the drama and everything else, considering you're trying to move on with another relationship. You're trying to do better things with life, get clean so you can get custody of your child, which I think is really, really important. I think you should fight really, really hard for that, because it looks like you have a better support system on this side with your parents. Because it speaks volumes that your parents would still consider taking her in, which to me was very surprising. Okay, so I get that, and it doesn't even seem like you're angry about it, which actually speaks more volumes about who you are as well. So if this all goes as planned, and I hope it does for you, I think there's a million questions that people have that you would know, and that I'm not even scratching the surface in this interview about. So would you be open to possibility, and you don't have to give me a guarantee, but doing another video, a live we do a Q&A section of people from my fan group and like Reddit, and people asking you the real questions?
Yeah, I think that would be very eye-opening for everyone.
Okay.
Definitely. Okay,
cool. No, I appreciate you being on. This has been an excellent interview. And thanks for corroborating everything we already knew, which, I mean, we knew, because it's not like she's trying to hide any of these things. Obviously, it was very, very telling. We had a lot of kind of bomb drops in here, which I think is very important. So I appreciate you being here and being willing to do this. It's not the easiest thing to do. I get that. You're kind of in the den of lions, especially because you are tied to her. Because at one point, again, you're with her. You got to be on her side, and you guys were together fighting, and then till no longer.
And honestly, Josh, I'll say this: like, for me to do this is like a really big deal, because I'm a very loyal person, like to my core, and I didn't want to take it here. I really didn't, but she just keeps attacking and will not leave me alone, and it's to the point where I got to retaliate. I mean, I got to do something about it. I can't just let her continue to walk all over me.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly what Hannah did too. And that Mikey guy, whatever his name is, he was going to come on the show, but he wanted me to pay him like $10,000. I was just like,
he's back in the picture.
I don't even know. So that's crazy to me that people are. It just goes to show that people are willing, or that's what they use, because they're so, like with Hannah, she's so appalled at the behavior she saw, and she was only there for short time. And with you have to, because you really have no choice, because I mean, what are police really going to do? But I do encourage you though to connect to the authorities and get it all figured out, because that's nuts, the things that she's being accused of today, especially when it comes to the fraud and when the revenge porn. I think everybody can agree, fan or not fan, that's wrong. That's just wrong. Because if the roles were reversed and you were releasing revenge porn on her, you would be canceled instantly.
And I would be arrested instantly.
Yeah, you would go to jail. And I just think that's the double standard. I mean, it's enough with the double standard. That's not fair. Okay, Noah, well, I appreciate you being on. And again, we'll follow up and we'll see what people think. We'll do a Q&A, and I'll get that out there when it's ready. We'll be in talks with that. So I appreciate you being here.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Josh.
Okay, so there you go, everybody. That's what Nona had to say, and that was back in the March, and it's been a while to remember half the stuff we talked about, because I don't remember anything I do a couple months ago, but I thought it was pretty eye-opening, especially about the fraud and things like that, and who she really was. I think Alex isn't going to last on the internet. She needs to go get proper help. She needs to go into rehab and legitimately go into rehab, and then figure out thing. I see the thing that's Alex is stuck in a rock and a hard place between is because she's disabled, and just going on disability won't be able to pay for the lifestyle that she wants. Okay, but using the internet to make money is it does work, right? But she doesn't make enough content to make it work anymore. She's lazy, or she can't find creators that are going to help her do it, or caretakers that will help her do it. And I think she's spiraling down alcoholism more than she ever has before. Remember, she did a post a little while ago saying she was sober for like 8 days or something like that, and it was completely not. She's not sober. She's absolutely falling apart. And this whole situation is airing out to the world for all us all to see, and that's why the Reddit threads are going crazy, and everybody's messaging me and saying, what's going on? This is what you choose when you choose to be an influencer. All of your dirty laundry is going to get aired no matter what it is. Okay, all of your tragedies are going to get aired no matter what they are. People are going to look for things. If you owe the government money, if you did commit fraud, how many sleuthers do you think are now going to go find out how much she owes the government? Because if she's never paid taxes, she's made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on the internet. She has over 1.1 million followers on TikTok. Okay, she's made money. So people are not going to go look for that. Alex Dacey might end up in prison. I don't know, because she's in a wheelchair. Maybe she does get special care treatment. I don't know. but she might end up in prison for all this. Now, did Noah do this? He says he didn't. Now, if there's proof of it, I'm sure Alex will show the proof of it. Okay, but if there's not proof of it, then I don't know if you can take any of their words for anything, right? But I do believe Noah when it comes to the fraud. I do, because I think a lot of influencers don't, when they come into money, they don't understand how to deal with it. And they do, like Doherty doesn't, owed like what, $113,000 back taxes or something like that. Influencers are stupid. Like, let's be real. So that's kind of the update. And thanks for Noah for coming on the show and giving me permission to air that interview. Obviously, that was before all the crap hit the fan here, so it's obviously a little different. But they're both absolutely need to get off the internet and stop putting Ari in the middle of all of this. This kid needs to be taken out of her care and put into care of people who love her, who can take care of her. Okay? And maybe it is Noah's parents, maybe it isn't. But for whatever it is, this kid is in the middle of a nightmare, and that's absolutely just devastating. So, jeez. This really sucks. But everybody, take a deep breath. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you for these tough conversations. If you're following this, let me know if something breaks or whatever, and I'll be sure to get on it. But let me know what you think about this whole situation below. Like, this is the type of people that she kind of gives me my mom's vibes. My mom was a full-blown alcoholic early in my life. This is kind of giving me that vibe, and it kind of triggers me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Alex is not a good mom. Okay, she can't be. There's nothing wrong. You can say you love your child, and that's fine, but you cannot even take care of this child. And if she's in emergency housing without care, this is a dangerous place for Ari to be. So, we'll keep an eye on this for damn sure. So let me know what you guys think below, and I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Don't forget you're awesome, incredible, and valuable. Someone has a huge crush on you. Okay, don't forget it. And I'll see you when I see you.